Chapter 565. Just as everyone was discussing nervously, the sky suddenly darkened. Everyone looked up and saw a mountain falling from the sky. Many sharp-eyed people found that there were 5 heads carved on one side of the mountain. It was with Leaf's Naruto rock. It must be that bastard Madara. Hashirama looked unhappy, and the warmth of the memory disappeared in an instant. Everyone in the coalition was a little panicked. They had not experienced the baptism of meteorites in this world. Facing such an unimaginable attack, they were inevitably panicked. Are you kidding me? The mountain fell from the sky. Is this the power of Uchiha Madara? Damn it, our strength is too small. Hashirama clapped his hands, and a huge Buddha statue of thousands of meters high was almost completed in an instant, making a gesture of holding a baby. After the impact of the fall of Naruto rock destroyed more than a dozen big Buddha arms, it was firmly held in the arms of the remaining 900 arms. Everyone just breathed a sigh of relief, and the figure of Madara flew from the sky, laughing wildly. Haha Hashirama, are you satisfied with the gift I gave you? Chapter 572. Hashirama carefully put the Naruto rock on the ground and said angrily, Kagaya didn't think of separating Naruto and Naruto that symbolizes the will of spaces in heaven's defense. How can you throw it down like garbage? Instead, she kept attacking. Madara laughed wildly. At this moment, Sasuke and Naruto also noticed that Kagaya was better to destroy stronger than Madara in terms of attributes. Seeing what Hashirama wanted to say, combat awareness, Tobirama took countless times weaker than Madara. There's nothing to say to this arrogant at the level of a ninja school student. Get ready to fight. And a first-grade primary school student. Madara disdained. Naruto and Sasuke exchanged glances and made a decision. Stop me a little. Kagaya, Tobirama watch my children and grandchildren's techniques. Call him Naruto at the last moment, and instantly transformed into dozens of enchanting naked until you defeat us. In terms of appearance alone, was the whole ninja world. Who was old enough to be Kagaya's grandfather. Since you want to die, coquettishly called out Mother. Madara waved the sage staff. Mother-sama, and the truth-seeking ball floating behind him the battle in the sky. Almost pulled the power of the curse when he saw this scene. Tobirama quickly ordered, but the effect was remarkable. Garashi had only used Yuga's body as her medium to plant that her mind was polluted after everyone's bodies. After her rationality value went crazy, they were able to use taking advantage of the moment when Kagaya's mind was affected. Everyone quickly moved forward. Curse and seal, at the same Grand Fireball, used heavenly hand power to exchange the position of Naruto's body with the kunai. The power gathered by tens of thousands of their hands imprinted with the power of to the bordered soil Huiya's body. Ball. Kagaya's body trembled slightly, who had absorbed the divine and she finally recovered from the state of absent-mindedness. The army failed again, but why didn't he come to me? The previous 4th Division. Sasuke after a violent collision, the torrent of senjutsu broke through the truth-seeking ball. However, Kagaya had been Madara, sealed in the without any reduction in power and could no longer answer his question. It's rare to see an immortal Naruto put his hands on his hips nearly 100,000 people. It's quite spectacular. Who dares to say that my seduction technique Madara didn't useless. Panic and commented with interest. I saved the world by seduction technique. As the Jubi's Jinchuriki temporarily will not live long after the Jubi is taken away. Let me show you my strength. Are you here like me? Unlike Naruto gave him a thumbs up. Madara, you are too strong. Really cool Madara created hundreds of black gravitational cores at once. Madara's gravitational cores were suspended in the air as over. Not only attracting all kinds of rocket formations with you, but even the torn as the Jinchuriki flew to the battlefield taken away by others. For a while, proves that you fell into their calculations long ago. Naruto nodded vigorously, and Thunder Madara was stunned inside. Not only that, everyone had insisted and got a strong gravitational force. Maybe it wouldn't have ended great. We finally defeated the originally summoned Naruto Tensei. True at this moment saved the world. Hashirama reacted in tears. Inoki reminded with the light of the soul. Don't be happy too early. I didn't expect that my brother would become a hero with the enemy forces. As soon as he finished speaking, the rest of the people were not idle. If I could Naruto and Tensei mode, find a way to fight away for sure using such drastic means. Everyone really forgot Sasuke transformed into Susanoo also and waved his Odachi to cut off the Madara meteorite. I think you are not as good as Sakura not willing to fall behind the burden of she jumped up and broke. But now it seems that I'm shallow. For a group of strong laughed people. At himself. It was not difficult to break. My dream when I was a child was never to be a hero. For a while, the stars fell like rain. To be the pride of Uchiha. Tobirama was alert. Mikoto encouraged everyone him. Be careful. Sasuke, Madara is gone. You are now the last Minato recalled the previous the important task of giving birth to Uchiha is handed over to you. Be careful of his ability to shrink 20 children. Haha, it's too late. Was speechless. Madara's iconic laughter came from behind Minato. Put his hands on his shoulders. Hashirama's current strength was not comparable to Madara's. I'm not a qualified father. And he was distracted. Not only did I not shelter you from the wind and rain, people, but I also let you bear the pressure that you shouldn't bear at your age. Just in an instant, Naruto grinned. He was trampled under Madara's feet. I used to complain about you, but now I'm proud of you, Dad. Hashirama smiled bitterly in his heart. Thinking that he was going to be completely destroyed by Madara, mouth rose slightly. The Fuyuki family did not do so, have 20 children, but turned into a juicer for much and absorbed the Senjutsu chakra from his body. Naruto and Tobirama reacted quickly. Can I have a boy? And teleported Kato to Hashirama and waved at Tsunade, flying thunder god jutsu. This time Madara really did not fight back again, but directly through Hashirama and wiped her tears, who had turned into dregs to them. Can't you and wait for me for a few more years on the road to the underworld? Now I can also use Senjutsu. If you came early, I wouldn't know you. Jiraiya looked at them with jealousy in the distance. Tobirama subconsciously looked at his big brother, who was sucked out of sage mode. In a burst of laughter, shook his head weakly. Almost all the Edo Tensei's faces were filled with happy smiles. Eat my sword. After their last wish tone was indifferent as he attached the cursed power shrouded them. And Amaterasu, it was like an aurora light beam connecting heaven and slashed down. It was spectacular. On the other side, Rakuto Madara spat out a laser from his mouth and directly cut off Susanu's sword and divided the fruit. My attack. After dividing the fruit, was shocked. Shikaku was dissatisfied. Madara opened his mouth again. Old man Rakuto, as if he was going to cut Susanoo in half. The other tailed beasts also followed. Everyone naturally couldn't watch Sasuke being attacked. There must be something wrong with the way you divide the chakra. Raisin shuriken. Why does a fox like Kurama have more chakra than all of us combined? Third Reikage and fourth Reikage ninjutsu. Strength needs a strong heart to control it. If it was hundreds of thousands of people, if I give you strength, can you control it? Naturally ignore Besides, it. Even if it was nearly 100,000 wasn't I also locked up in a cage? And many of them were powerful ninjas. Spiritual beast for a while. The tailed Madara could only escape an embarrassment. But after listening to dodging several attacks in a row, they gave up. Madara looked at the more people below with gloomy eyes. The easier it is to be targeted. A group of annoying ants. Forcing that they solve the conflict by themselves. Senjutsu. Rakuto wiped his sweat with a guilty conscience. Great fire annihilation. Kurama is right. Hashirama's release was originally difficult to ignite. Aizen, but was watching this scene from a distant mountain peak was different. Said indifferently, it was almost the best fuel. I'm going to tear this warm scene apart. By Hashirama, and the sea of trees summoned by Madara were ignited at the same time. Chapter 573. And the terrifying underworld fire almost drowned the entire battlefield. Although there are many ninjas in the allied forces who are good at water release, his beloved mother had been difficult to extinguish the fire as he was waiting carefully. Water release. Aizen's voice sounded the power in his mind. Of the cursed seal to the water. Release. Is it going to start? Like a drop in the bucket and summon the 26 Shinigami. Seeing this situation, Hashirama hurriedly said, "See, kill him. Tobirama, in the human world, use your sea release. 6 paths." Tobirama was about to run away. Suddenly I don't have hands. How can his body made of chakra faded a lot? Obviously, Chapter 566. Kurama, damn it! And the other if you didn't mention it, couldn't believe I would their have eyes. Forgotten that ninjutsu requires hand seals. Who could hurt Otsutsuki Hashirama when he gritted his teeth. The Tobirama felt offended, 6 paths, but he didn't care about his injury at this moment. He frowned. I can only and was about to escape into the underworld. After that, but at the instant Tobirama disappeared in an instant. The sealed truth, and when he recovered, suddenly the two had already appeared and in front of him with an extremely powerful might. Hashirama was shocked. This might caused his heart to palpitate didn't have time to pay attention to him, and he felt as if he was close to death. There was no time to think. Sama. 6 paths said helplessly used the truth-seeking ball to defend performance. However, now the attack forced him to appear in advance, and the distance was too Immortal close. Method. Water release. 6 paths defense was blown in half. After Garashi symbolically shocked everyone who was celebrating. A big river poured down from the sky. Why did the 6 paths and directly extinguish the sea of fire? Madara, Ichiki, not only and Kagaya were all defeated. The lake was also very flexible another enemy? To lift the submerged souls who were about to ascend were also stunned, so that they would not drown. The Pure Land was sealed and isolated. There seems to be a vitality in this lake that healed although his body was blown in half. Oh, it's true. 6 paths I know, it must be the Sama who defeated Ichiki in disbelief. He saved us with the rain at that time. You burned your origin. In these cheers, although the strength of the eyes were cast over, seal was not as strong as Chiba can't help but appear. It was definitely not easy to break. Are you the new god who replaced origin to break the seal? But when he broke the seal, he was dead. When he and Black Zetsu reviewed the situation after the war, he thought that his life was almost infinite. There was hope as long as he didn't die. A temporary victory, Madara suddenly mentioned didn't mean anything, which confirmed his guess. He didn't think that
Ichiki
would be
Madara
so unyielding.
quickly cleared his relationship.
If Ichiki was so irritable,
of course, I'm
he
not a
wouldn't have
god.
lived until now.
Haha.
Ichiki's
Garashi's
laughter
crazy.
was full of sarcasm in Madara's
All of this
ears,
is to make Otsutsuki
and he couldn't
great
help
again.
but be angry.
No, his consciousness is
laugh
being
all you
controlled
want.
by someone.
This is the only
Seeing
time
the
he
madness
can laugh.
in Ishur's eyes.
Immortal method.
Six Paths
Pain
felt
release
fear for the
lightning
first
school.
time since
The
his
branch
mother
like
was sealed
forked
away.
lightning bolt shot towards
Otsutsuki's
Garashi,
fresh style was silently
and even space
controlled by
itself
someone
was faintly trembling.
that was the superior
I
warrior
can finally
of the
make my
Otsutsuki
move.
clan.
Garashi
The
sighed.
existence at the
Speed
top
is
of the
power.
food chain in
Have
the
you ever
endless
been
starry
kicked by
sky.
light? Who
What
could
did you
control
say?
him?
Moreover,
Madara wondered.
The person
Then
who
he saw
controlled
the other
first
side
style
suddenly
forced him to
disappear,
self-destruct,
and then a powerful
this world
force
was too
acted
crazy.
on his chest.
In fact,
Madara's
felt
chest
it was instantly
instantly
caved in.
If it wasn't for the
and he
fact
flew
that
out
he
like
had
a
no other
cannonball
choice
and fell
he
heavily
wouldn't
on
want
the
to
ground.
abandon such
This
a
sudden
powerful
turn of
puppet
events left
that was
everyone
completely
dumbfounded.
obedient to him.
Even if its
But the level of
teleportation,
Konoha
it
Mitsukimi
takes
of
some time to
Shursui was
react.
too low.
But the speed of this man seems to be faster
Even
than
with
teleportation.
Pushur's golden Rinnegan
Even
to strengthen
Madara,
his eyes,
who has the
and
body
the
of
premise
six
of
paths
eating
and
his own
Rinnegan,
eyes,
didn't
and
react.
being weakened to the extreme.
Madara flew out of the
This
huge
kind of
pit in the
rewriting
ground.
thinking could only
The
last
injury
for
on
a
his
period
chest
of
had been
time.
completely
Therefore,
healed. But
he
his
had no
eyes were
choice
full
but
of
to
take
disbelief.
advantage of this
What
period
is
of
this
time
power?
to unleash his
Garashi
remaining
said
heat.
concisely.
At this
Light
moment,
escape.
the samsara was
escape.
temporarily
Was this
sealed
another
in the gap
type of
between
blood
the modern
inheritance
realm
elimination?
and the underworld.
Well, worthy of my
In the modern
opponent.
realm was in
Madara
chaos.
twisted his neck.
What's going on? Don't
Where
think
is the
that this
enemy?
is my limit.
Grandpa
God coughed.
Rakuto, what's wrong
Madara
with you?
subconsciously
In this
wanted
chaotic
to say
and
a few
panic
words,
situation,
but he took
Aizen
it back in
slowly
time.
walked down
He
from
felt
the sky.
a little uncomfortable.
He gently flicked
and
his
turned
sleeves,
his anger into
and
strength.
the souls that were suddenly
Immortal
stuck
method.
on the way to the
Lightning
sky all
release.
flew towards
Chakra
him
mode.
uncontrollably.
Activating the body
What's wrong?
cells is actually
Who's
at the
sucking my
cost of
soul?
increasing the burden
Although
on the
Aizen
body.
didn't express his
But the
attitude
body
and
of six
position
paths is
in
so
this
powerful
sensitive period
that it can quickly
his actions
repair
were
the
very
8 gates.
revealing.
In this
Therefore,
case, the
he can
alliance was
naturally
active
enhance
again.
the activation
This guy
level
looks
and ordinary.
scrupulously. He doesn't look
My
like a
reaction
powerful
and speed
character.
are more than twice
Who cares
as fast
who he
as
is?
before.
We even defeated
Madara's
Madara
confidence
and
was
Kagaya.
greatly boosted.
One more
and he
enemy
laughed
doesn't
wildly.
make a difference.
Come on,
However,
kick me
Mizuki
again.
shouted, "This is the first
Wait,
time
don't
I've
do
heard
anything.
such a request."
Everyone looked at him
Garashi waved his right
subconsciously
hand,
and saw that Mizuki,
and the river flowing
who was
quietly
always
below
calm and
suddenly
steady,
turned into a
was
water
sweating
dragon
at this moment
and rushed to the
nervously
sky.
looking at the sky.
Water release.
Of course,
This level
he
of
was
attack
nervous.
is too boring.
In addition to the
Madara
unpredictable
clapped his
ability
hand,
of the other
and the
party,
shock wave
it
formed
was
by the
also because
vibrating
of the
air
bordered
shattered
soil
the water
speculation.
dragon.
Looking at
Suspected
the
to be
torrential
Garashi
rain
from a
after the
parallel
water
world.
dragon was
Just
smashed,
this sentence was
Garashi
enough to show
seriously
the horror
printed
of the other party.
Immortal method.
Seeing
Ice
Mizuki so
release.
nervous and
Smoke
scared,
boat MO.
Tsunade asked,
The raindrops were frozen.
"Is he strong?"
But they
Mizuki
did not fall
recalled the
because of
situation
gravity,
of the other party
but like
playing
ice
with the
crystal
whole ninja
decorations
world,
on the sky,
and said with a
as the
dignified
time and
face,
space nodes,
"He's
they
more
froze
evil
the
than
time and
Madara,
space together.
more terrifying
Madara was
existence.
shocked.
I suspect
Time has
that the
become
predicament
slow.
of the six
In this
paths
frozen
sending
time
was
and
caused
space,
by him. Garashi
everyone
rushed in like
couldn't
an arrow
believe
and
it.
kicked Madara's
In the
chest.
past, the
Madara
next
was
moment,
the ceiling of the
the
ninja
frozen
world.
picture cracked
Not
like
to
a
mention
broken
that
mirror.
he became the
And then
Jinchuriki
Madara
of the
fell
Jubi.
into the huge
But
pit
today,
again.
the villain who
Sure
jumped
enough,
out, Madara
how
is
can a
weaker than
person
I
be more
thought.
powerful than him?
Garashi stood
Isn't
quietly
it
in
too
the sky
exaggerated?
and secretly
Moreover,
evaluated.
the other
Under
party
normal
is different from
circumstances,
Madara,
with the
Kagaya,
strength of his
and
clone,
Ichiki,
he is
who have
naturally
horns on their
far
heads,
from the opponent
obviously.
of the enemy.
He has the
who has
style of an
entered the realm
ordinary
of
human.
six paths. While they were
Even if
exchanging
it is a clone
information,
constructed
Madara,
by the
who
sage
turned
of six
into a soul,
paths.
roared.
However,
A mere speck
neither
of
Abito
Sando
nor
dares to play
Madara
with
had
my soul.
perfect control
Among
of the
the
power
souls
of the
that flew
six
to
paths.
Aizen,
Madara
especially
was
Abito,
undoubtedly the
who
most
seemed to be
powerful
powerful
one.
and majestic.
Although he became the
but he
Jubi's
could only use the
Jinchuriki for only
truth-seeking
3 days
Jade
back and forth.
His soul has
And he
undergone
couldn't even
essential
use the
changes
power he had previously
under his
controlled.
leadership.
A
Although
series of
Madara is a
powerful
little
souls
better,
such as
he has
Hashirama,
absorbed the sacred
Nagato,
tree,
and
the amount
Jiraiya
of
broke
chakra
free
he
from the
needs to
unknown
control us
suction.
several times
Don't
that
try
of
to
bordered
control
soil.
us.
But
We
the
have
most
broken
important
free
thing
from
is
the
that the
shackles of the
Rinnegan is
Edo
not his
Tensei.
own. And
In
we are
Garashi's
freer than
view,
anyone else.
Madara is now
the
a
power of a
skeleton in
group
the
of
grave.
souls converged
Even
and
without
erupted
Black
with
Setsu's
unparalleled
sneak attack.
power.
Kagaya
Even the
can
space
subtly
of the
complete
world
the
was
devouring.
faintly distorted and
In the
folded.
original time and space,
Madara
relied on
Seeing
Rinnegan
this,
to barely
everyone
control
in the
the power
alliance
of the
was
sacred
excited.
tree.
So
Black
powerful,
Zetsu
worthy
attacked
of the
and
names
created
of the
an
souls in the
opportunity
history
for
of the
Kagaya.
ninja world.
Now Madara can't
Haha,
control
he
the power of the
underestimated
sacred
the power
tree
of
very
ninja.
well.
It
And
seems
I'm
that we
exerting
don't need to
influence
do
from
anything.
the outside.
However,
Kagaya
Mizuki's
should be
eyes
able
were
to come out
dignified.
soon.
It's
In order to
impossible
avoid
to
this
succeed.
situation, this
I'm
man has
most
the
likely
terrible
going to make a
ability to
move.
play with the world.
Although in
Garashi's
sky,
view,
Aizen
defeating
commented
a
with
weakened
interest.
Madara is nothing to be
Goodwill,
proud of,
but
in the
unfortunately,
eyes
a
of the
pure soul is
coalition
useless.
forces. This
It's
scene
okay
is
to
almost
deal with
a miracle.
ordinary people,
Incarnate
but
into
it's
light,
useless against
freeze
me.
time and space.
As soon as he finished
Even
speaking,
with Itachi's
an
mind,
extremely
he
powerful
couldn't help
soul
but be
force
stunned at
spread
the
out
scene
in
in
all
front of
directions
him. With him
What
as the
happened
center.
during the time I
The
died?
souls that were
Did the
originally
gods
powerful
council fainted,
fainted,
as if
too
they were
powerful.
electrocuted?
Nagato
And
was
then
so
they were
shocked that
attracted
he held
by
his
Aizen.
breath. Madara's
attacked
powerful
me at that
soul
time,
only lasted a
he
few
definitely
seconds
didn't
longer
use
than
even
the others
1/10 of his strength
before he lost consciousness.
Tsunade recalled Mizuki's
as if he had
previous
just
words.
completed a trivial matter.
It turns out that he said
Aizen
that
ignored the
Garashi
stunned
is 100
alliance
times
and
stronger
calmly
than him.
summoned Ichiki.
Jiraiya opened his
Now
mouth
give me all
wide
your
and
power.
regretted.
With such a powerful big brother, why did I die at that time? Chapter
What a loss.
574. Seeing that they were so
I will
excited,
give my soul and the
Mizuki
Jubi.
thought with pride.
Ichibi said fanatically.
If they knew that it was just
Aizen's
a clone
eyes
of the
flashed.
leader who defeated
What did you say,
Madara,
Jubi?
they would
Ichibi
probably
said
faint
without hesitation.
At this time,
Yes, I
Madara
control the
flew
second
out of the
Jubi.
huge pit
Aizen's
that had
eyes
expanded a
narrowed
lot,
slightly.
trying
He
to
originally
maintain his
planned
face.
to use Ichibi's
You
soul
deserve
as the
to
core.
be my opponent.
Madara,
Among
and
the
the
people
other
I have
ascended
fought,
souls as
no
the
one
inner
is
layer.
better than you.
And the part
I,
of the soul
Madara,
torn from
am
the
willing
underworld
to call you the
as
strongest
the outer layer
to create a 3-layered structure
Chapter
of the Hogyoku.
567.
But when Ichibi
Threatened
mentioned
Black
the second
Setsu to
Jubi,
appear,
his
this
mind
idea
became
flashed
active
through
again.
Madara's mind.
Can I make the
And
Jubi
then
a
he
part of the
quickly ruled
Hogyoku?
it out.
But he
wants
quickly
to
denied
take the
this
lead in the
conjecture.
next cooperation.
The Hogyoku was created
Naturally,
to be a transit
it is
station
impossible
for
to
him
ask
to
others
further
for help.
cultivate the divine
Moreover,
system.
although
To
the
prevent
current
the soul
situation
from being
is slightly out of
contaminated.
control,
To be precise,
it is not to the
it
point
was
of
to let
being
the
a last
Hogyoku
resort.
filter out the power
After all,
that may
he
contaminate
has found
his
his
soul.
greatest
In
advantage
this way,
after
the
advancing
Hogyoku
to the
must
body
be
of the
pure.
6 paths.
It's not a simple
He was very
superposition
envious
of
of
power.
Hashirama's
The
healing
Jubi and the
ability,
Hogyoku are
and
not
now
in
his
the same
vitality
system.
and recovery
However,
ability
it would
are
be a
above
waste to give up the
Hashirama's.
Jubi. Taking 2 heavy
the
blows
origin
from
of
my
the enemy
body
didn't hurt him at
Aizen
all.
was shocked,
But in the
and
eyes
he
of
quickly
others,
thought of the
his
use of the
performance
Jubi
was completely
to replace
stubborn.
the core of his body.
Uncle, can
His
you wipe
body
the
was
blood
built
off your
with the
mouth
chakra
before
of
you
the
comment
from a
beast
condescending
as the
position?
core?
And
What
the
god?
Ryomayaka chakra
I think it's
as the
the god
outer
of being
layer.
beaten.
In the early
Madara's
stage,
mouth twitched.
it was okay,
And his eyes swept
but
the
as the
crowd
enemies
below.
he faced became stronger and
just
stronger,
sand, not half
the
as
role
good
of
as
this
me.
body became
Thunder
smaller
release,
and smaller.
10,000
And
thunderbolts.
most of the time,
The purple
it was
black
not as
thunder
good
fell
as the
from
enemy.
the sky.
Although he
like
looked
an
very
aurora
strong
beam.
now, covering
His
the
real
entire
strength
battlefield.
was not as good as Ichibi
Garashi
and
reacted
Rakuto.
quickly.
Of course,
Printed
this
with
refers
both
to their
hands
peak state
and tapped gently
and
in
now,
the void.
it was the best
Formation,
time for him to
time
upgrade
and
the
space
hardware of his
enchantment.
body.
A vast
Thinking of
enchantment
this,
swayed in the
Aizen
sky,
was not in a hurry
sucking
to
in
let
all the
Ichibi
thunder
kill
falling
himself.
from the sky.
Go and bring me the
and then
Jubi.
gathered together
Yes,
and fell
Ichibi
from the top
directly
of
opened the
Madara's
portal
head.
and strode
Madara
in.
waved
They
his
didn't
staff
deliberately
and
hide their
instantly retracted his
conversation.
power. So when they
And then
saw
looked at
Ichibi
Garashi
leave,
indifferently.
everyone in the alliance
Is it
was
worth
very
wasting
anxious.
power to protect these
It's not
ants?
easy to seal the
Garashi
ghetto
chuckled
mazo on the
softly.
moon.
Of
Why
course
is there
it's
another
worth it.
Jubi?
Hey,
Does he want to
haven't
become
you
the
learned the
Jubi's
lesson of
Jinchuriki?
Hashirama?
This
Well,
guy
let
is
me
already
teach you
so
how
strong
cruel
when
war
he's
is.
not even a Jubi's
The wheel in
Jinchuriki.
Madara's right eye
When he
rotated
completes his
rapidly.
transformation,
Big black coffin.
who else in this world
Hundreds
can
of
be his
huge black
opponent?
cubes
In
appeared
the
around
sky,
him out of thin
black
air.
mud jumped
and
onto
fell to
Aizen's
the crowd
sleeve in
at a
praise.
very fast speed.
Brother, you're
Seeing
amazing.
this situation,
You can even
a group
control
of
an
Kage
existence
and
like
elite
Ichiki.
ninjas quickly reacted.
Although he already knew
Is
that
it
his
similar
mother
to
had
the
been
Chibaku
sealed again,
Tensei Jutsu?
he wasn't worried.
Break them.
With the
Don't
6
let them
paths
hinder
sealed
Garashi
and the
Sama's
1 battle
battle.
controlled, they knew that
Who else in
Madara's
this world
intention
could
was
be
to
their
distract
opponent?
Garashi.
He was
and
invincible.
naturally rushed
Aizen
forward.
took the initiative
However,
to explain.
when their ninjutsu fell
I
on the
asked you
black
to
cube,
negotiate with Ichii.
everyone's face changed.
When he secretly searched
black
your
cube
memories,
was extremely
he was already
hard.
infected
And
by
the
me.
force that could
The
crush
reason he
meteorites
said this
fell
was
on
to
the black
prevent the
coffin
6 paths
only
of
made it
samsara
shake slightly
from associating
Moreover,
the Konoha
the
Tsukimi
black
with his
cube
own
seemed
body.
to have the ability
Although the
to
6
absorb
Daos
chakra,
had fallen into his
and it
trap,
was difficult
he would
for
never
pure
believe
ninjutsu
that the
to
6
work,
Daos had no
except
power
for a
to
few
fight
people
back.
who broke the black coffin.
The main
Minato and
body's
Tobirama
purpose was to
transferred
attack
a few of them away.
Aizen at a critical
Seeing
moment.
that the rest of the
so
black
that the
coffin
6
was
paths
about to
wouldn't
fall,
fight him to the
Garashi
death.
quickly,
Hey,
as you
Julius,
didn't think too much about
Patema.
it.
He
The
just
rapidly
asked.
falling black
Big
cube
brother,
was frozen
when
in
are we
midair,
going to save Mother?
and the crowd quickly
Mother?
escaped the,
The
area
6
covered
paths,
by the black
who was
coffin.
stuck between life and
Opportunity
death. Couldn't help
Madara
but think.
was excited
Their
and
mother's
controlled the
backup?
8 truth-seeking
No
balls
wonder they
to
can
fly to
control
Mizuki.
Ichiki.
Then,
Before
the
Aizen
8
could
truth-seeking
answer,
orbs turned
the
into
Allied
sharp
army had
spikes
already
at the same
surrounded
time,
them,
and
they knew
stabbed
that
at
the
Shushi
enemy
from
was
all
strong.
directions.
But no matter how
Paper
strong
soft.
he was, he
In
couldn't
front
be
of
stronger
Madara's
than
shocked
Kagaya.
eyes,
Defeating
Shushi's
so
body
many
twisted
twisted
in
and
an
irregular
gave them a
shape,
lot of confidence.
changing shape like
Even
soft
if they were
mud,
facing an
and
unknown
easily
enemy, dodged the spikes.
They were still confident.
You can do this. Cursed
Madara's
Chidori.
eyes widened.
Curse Millennium
and then
Kill.
he saw Garashi's whole
the allied
body
army
emitting a
attacked
dazzling
Aizen
light.
together.
The blazing
But as soon
white
as their
light
attacks
filled every
landed on
corner
him,
around him.
he turned
And
into
it
a
was so
shadow
hot
and
that
reappeared
Madara
in
could
another
only
place.
close his eyes
They continued
subconsciously.
to chase.
Then,
and
a
Aizen
familiar
continued to
feeling
run.
of being beaten
In the
up
blink
acted
of an
on him.
eye,
When
they
the
had
light
run through the
dissipated,
entire battlefield.
everyone squinted
Damn
and
it,
looked
do you
around.
only know how to
and
hide?
found that the huge
Breakage
pit on the
cursed.
ground had
Hide.
expanded a lot.
Aizen's laughter
and
came
their
from
awe for
behind
Garashi
them.
increased.
I haven't moved
It's
since the
amazing
beginning
he can
of the
avoid
battle.
it. And
Hearing
the blinding
this,
just now
the
is so
allied army
strong.
subconsciously
If
looked
Garashi
back. and
Sama
saw
wants
Aizen
to.
standing
We don't
in the
even
same
have the
place,
qualification
as if
to
he was
open our
watching
eyes
a
in
show.
front of him.
How is that
Damn
possible?
I can't look at him
Don't
directly.
be fooled by him.
Madara flew
He
out
must
of
have
the pit,
sneaked back and
his heart
pretended
was
that he didn't
extremely
move to put
aggrieved.
pressure on us.
It was always the
But at this
outsiders who
moment,
were afraid
a
of
voice
the
full of
Uchiha
fear sounded,
and did not dare
"No,
to
look
look
around.
directly into their
Why
eyes.
is everyone down?"
How could he not
Hearing
dare
this
to look
voice,
directly into
everyone
other
quickly
people's
looked
eyes?
around.
Yes,
The Allied
Genjutsu.
army was densely
Madara's
lying
spirit
on the
was
ground.
refreshed.
The
He now
soldiers
has
of the
the strongest
Alliance army,
Genjutsu,
who had fallen
infinite
to the ground,
Tsukuyomi,
looked at them with
although it is not the
confusion
time
and
to
fear
open
in their
it.
eyes.
The power of
Don't come
Genjutsu
over.
is absolutely
Don't hit us.
beyond
We'll
doubt.
be stupid.
Thinking of
Raikage
this,
pointed at
Madara
himself in
regained his
disbelief.
confidence again.
You said
and
I was
laughed
hitting
wildly.
you. Yinen's
You are
ninja
really
smiled
strong,
bitterly,
but unfortunately,
everyone is
I
under
am
his
immortal.
genjutsu.
No matter how many
Raikage muttered
times
to
you beat
himself,
me,
"You can't
in
really
other
beat
words,
me.
We've been
Next,
fighting
it's
with our
time
own
to show
people."
the real power
Gaara
of the
took a deep
Uchiha.
breath.
Below,
Then
Naruto
what he
leaned
said
over
is
to
true.
Sasuke. He didn't move from the
Sasuke,
beginning of the
do you
battle.
Uchiha like to talk
The Allied
big?
army looked
You're
at
usually
Aizen again,
silent, but this
pretending to be
time,
cold.
Their eyes
But
were
when it
different
comes
from
to
before.
fighting,
They
you
were
show
full
your
of
true
fear.
colors.
However,
Sasuke
they were the
couldn't help
strongest
but
in the
scold.
shinobi world.
Shut up.
And naturally,
Then Naruto
they
didn't
wouldn't be
speak.
afraid of a genjutsu.
Surprised by Naruto's
Everyone be
self-awareness.
careful, be alert.
Sasuke turned his
Two
head
people in a
and
group
found that Naruto
disrupt
had
the
fallen
chakra in
asleep.
time.
This
Naruto,
was a common method to
Sasuke's
deal with
pupil shrank
genjutsu.
slightly.
Hearing their
and
discussion,
he suddenly felt a burst
the Allied
of
army
sleepiness.
was even more afraid.
His eyelids were almost
No,
unable to
this
open.
is the 10th time.
He barely glanced
Please don't
around
try
with the
again.
corner of his eyes.
Inoki's eyes widened
and found that everyone around
did you
him had
say?
fainted. The 10th
Damn
time?
it. Is this
a rock
genjutsu
Krypsis
of
ninja
Madara?
said in fear.
I didn't expect this
All of your
guy's eyes to be
cognition,
so
senses,
powerful
and
that even with
consciousness are
Manjiki
under his
Sharingan,
control.
You can't
I can
win.
barely resist
At this
it.
time, Gaara suddenly
Sasuke
asked,
thought so.
"Is it
And
possible
suddenly
that
a
your
powerful
cognition
soul
has been
wave swept
modified?"
through?
In his
And the
perception,
genjutsu that
only a
troubled him
short
was
period of
instantly
time has
broken.
passed.
Then
Far less
Madara's
than 10
incredulous
battles.
voice came from
Our
the sky.
cognition has been
Who
modified.
the hell are you? Even your soul is so powerful? Just think
The
of
rock
me as an
Krypsis
ordinary
ninja froze
passerby.
for a moment.
Sure
And
enough,
then
it shouted
shouted
crazily.
crazily.
Haha, I don't know
heart was
anything,
relaxed
don't ask
for a
me.
while.
Seeing
And
this
then he was full of
situation,
shock.
Everyone's heart
Medical
was covered with a
ninjutsu,
layer of
5
haze.
elements released.
Mizuki's voice was
Kyujinjutsu.
dry. Taijutsu
I said it's
Kekei
useless.
Genkai. He's
And the
different from
genjutsu that he
Otsutsuki,
just showed,
who only
There
knows
is
how
such
to
a
suppress
perfect
people
ninja
with
in the
strength.
world. He's a
Tobarama
devil
who
side,
plays with people's
compared
hearts
with
and
Senpai
souls.
Garashi.
Numbers mean
Sama
nothing
is
to
more
him.
suitable for the title
Everyone
of the
calm
god of
down and
ninja.
thought about it.
I have no problem
Indeed,
with
the
the second
opponent
half
is
of the
completely
sentence.
different from Otsutsuki.
Hashirama looked
Just
unhappy.
like the truth-seeking ball mastered by Madara. Chapter
It's absolute
568,
suppression of ninjutsu.
with Garashi as the
But
head,
once they start
a
to
group
use
of Kage and
senjutsu,
Jonin as the waist,
battle will evolve
and the
into
rest
a
of the
competition
coalition
of strength,
forces as the tail.
defense,
The
vitality,
attack formed by
and other
them was like an
attributes between the
all-piercing
two
through
sides.
Madara's defense.
And this man's
For a
genjutsu
while,
has
the powerful
completely exceeded
Madara
the
could only
definition of
escape.
genjutsu
It
in the
shouldn't be.
shinobi
What's
world.
the problem?
It's a completely
Madara was
unknown
puzzled.
field.
He could
At this
feel that
time,
the man
Sasuke
had not
sneered.
yet entered the
A
realm
mere
of God.
genjutsu.
But why was
Is it
he,
worth it for
who
you
had
to be
stepped
so
into this
afraid?
realm?
Hearing
Not
his
a match
voice,
for him?
everyone's
Hiding in the
heart
space
ignited with
mezzanine.
hope.
Ikiyashi
The one who is
narrowed
least
his eyes.
afraid of genjutsu
The people
is
on this
undoubtedly
planet have
Sasuke,
developed a new path.
who has awakened Rinnegan.
He didn't see the scene
Looking
of
at
Garashi
everyone's
inoculating
expression,
the people
Sasuke
with curses.
smiled proudly.
He thought that
I'll be
the
back
senjutsu
soon.
had become
With that
widespread.
said, he used
If you
his
let those
dojutsu
people
to the
know,
extreme,
this planet
used
will
Susanoo,
definitely be on
and
the
walked out with
extinction
his
list.
odachi in hand.
Why is Otsutsuki
Then under
so
everyone's
powerful over the
expected
planets
eyes,
under his
he
rule?
turned and swung
Why
his
is he not
odachi at
afraid of the
Naruto?
spread of chakra?
Seeing this,
giving birth
everyone
to the power
couldn't help
to
but
overthrow
cover their
them.
faces in
The
despair.
reason is that
It's
chakra
over.
alone is not a threat to them. Take the truth-seeking ball, for example. No matter how many
Chapter
ninjutsu
575.
you can't
Sasuke,
break the
wake up.
boundary of the
It's
truth-seeking
over.
ball.
Even
This
Sasuke
is the essential
confused
gap.
by genjutsu.
But this planet
Just
has
as everyone
developed
was
a unique
complaining,
senjutsu
Karen suddenly
that can
asked,
have an effect
"Is
on
it
the
only
truth-seeking
Sasuke who
ball.
saw the truth?
The most important
And we are the
thing
ones
is that
who
it can
fell
be
into
popularized
genjutsu.
by all the people.
This.
So its threat
Although
is too
everyone
great.
instinctively
It's
felt
time
that
to
Karen
eliminate
was
this
trying
threat.
to excuse Sasuke.
Outside,
It wasn't
Madara
impossible.
was still stubborn. After
What
all,
can't destroy me
Sasuke
will make
was
me
the one with
stronger.
the strongest
Wait,
resistance
your
to
death
genjutsu.
omen is already flickering.
So it was reasonable for
Garashi
them to
said
be
while beating
confused.
him.
Gaara
It's very
sighed.
powerful.
Even if
But
Sasuke
before you
didn't fall
speak,
into
can you
genjutsu,
stop the foam
what
from
can
the
we
corner
do?
of your mouth?
Go up and help him
Aye.
fight. Madara was
Everyone's
about to say
morale
something,
instantly plummeted.
But suddenly his pupils
Indeed,
shrank.
For such
In
an
his field
invincible
of vision,
enemy, the
a
truth
figure
didn't
with a
matter.
long horn on his
Even
head
if they knew
appeared
that
behind
Sasuke was
Garashi.
fighting with the
Tobirama
enemy,
and
they
Minato
didn't
also
dare
saw
to
the
intervene.
enemy's movements.
Now that they saw
They
the
didn't
enemy,
have time to think.
it was hard to say
They were
who
ready
would be
to
the one
teleport
fighting
behind
later.
Garashi to
It
help
seems
him
that
block
the best way
attack.
for us now is
But
to
found
stay
that
in
they
place.
couldn't teleport at all.
Reikich's face was
Suddenly,
very ugly.
a thought rose
As
in their
long
hearts.
as we don't move, the space
He
was
can't do
frozen.
anything to us.
One move skillfully
Naive.
summoned four
Mizuki
shadows from the
sneered.
tomb of
Do you think
reincarnation
he's only
space
good at Genjutsu?
and surrounded
He used
Garashi from the
Genjutsu
front, back,
because
left,
it's the
and
easiest
right.
way.
80 God
Then
air
why didn't
attack
he?
asterisk 5 to
Reikich
400
quickly woke
God
up
air
and
attack
asked with a gloomy face.
Although Garashi
You
reacted
mean
in
he could have
time and turned
defeated
us
around,
long ago,
crossing
and
his
now
arms
he's just
in front of
playing
his
with us?
chest?
How
Do you
could
finally
a full strength
understand?
attack be so easily
Mizuki
blocked?
sighed.
Even
never
his
put
main
us in
body
his
had been
eyes,
seriously
but we should
injured
be glad
to the point
that he
of
didn't
being
put us in his
paralyzed
eyes
when he was ambushed.
Otherwise, we would have died
Needless
long
to
ago.
say, this
Hearing
doppelganger
this,
was even more
everyone
so.
felt even
Half
more
of his body
humiliated,
had been
but
destroyed
at the
with a
same
single
time,
blow.
They couldn't
Seeing
help
this
but
scene,
feel much more
the
relaxed.
eyes of the people below,
Although
almost
Madara
split
and
open,
Kagaya were strong,
and they madly charged
at least
into the
knew
sky,
how to defeat the
despicable
enemy,
and shameless,
and their efforts could
how
be
dare
seen.
you launch a sneak
but
attack?
This man in front of them,
Damned bastard,
they didn't know
I'm
what
going
to do
to
at
kill
all.
you.
And
However,
every time he attacked,
there seemed to be an
he would
invisible
accurately hit
barrier
his
in the
teammates,
sky,
blocking
in this
all
case,
of them outside.
They didn't even have the morale to
He
fight.
sure did not care about the
You're
curses
just,
from the audience and said
Naruto,
casually,
why are you
as
lying
long
on the
as I
ground?
can win.
Hearing
It doesn't
Sasuke's
matter
voice,
what method I use.
everyone sighed.
My
And
tomb
their
of
mentality
Samsara
became more
Madara
and more
finally
relaxed,
knew where he was
feeling
lacking.
a sense of
That was his
self-abandonment.
eyes. Although
At
the
this
man's
time,
strength was
a dark
unbelievably
door
strong,
opened in the void.
He had yet to step
Ichikushi
into
walked
the
out of the
sixth path's
door
domain
and
and
arrived
thus,
in front of Aizen.
he couldn't sense
He
the
dug out the
existence of the
Byakugan on
tomb
the
of
left.
reincarnation.
The Jubi
He
is
thought
sealed
that
in
the
the
tomb
eye.
of reincarnation
Although
was
Aizen
just
didn't
an
like
artifact,
Otsutsuki's
but
behavior,
he didn't expect that there would be such a strong
in the
freak
tone
in
of
the
a big
world
capitalist
who hadn't stepped
Very
into
good.
the sixth
Next,
path's
give
domain.
me your soul.
Damn
Without
it.
any
I
hesitation,
let this bastard
he
use
threw
my
his soul
eyes to
into
steal the
Aizen's
limelight.
nebula.
Madara
With the ascended
thought
souls
unwillingly,
as planets,
and then he was
and the
shocked
remaining
again.
souls as
No,
meteorites
where is
and
his
star
flesh and blood?
fragments.
In his
All
field
of them
of vision,
began to revolve
the
around
part
this
of Garashi's
star.
body that
It was like
blown
a
up
real
had
galaxy,
no blood flowing,
with a deep
in
and
the
mysterious
sky.
charm.
Garashi didn't
However,
care about his body
everyone
that was
knew how
constantly
dangerous it was to
dissipating,
be under
but
this
sighed
charm.
deeply.
This man
You can
actually
defeat
used
my
a
doppelganger,
very
and the
good
souls
strength.
of a group of strong
The smile on
warriors to
Ishur's
refine a
face
relic.
suddenly solidified.
Damn it, Dad,
Doppelganger?
Madara's
Naruto's
eyes
eyes were
popped
red,
out, and he wanted to
cursed
rush
in his
up.
heart.
Gara
This
quickly held
bastard
him
is
down.
just a doppelganger?
Calm down.
Are you
We
kidding
are
me?
no match for him.
I was almost
Don't
defeated
provoke
by
him.
a doppelganger.
Even a doppelganger is so powerful.
How
Kakashi
strong is
also
this
tried
guy's
to
main
dissuade
body?
her. Hearing
sure it's
Garashi's
him?
voice,
Naruto
the people
clenched
of
his
the
fists
alliance
and
who were
finally bowed
originally
his head
sad and
weakly.
indignant were
I'm
also
not
stunned.
sure.
In this
Doppelganger?
silent atmosphere,
It's just a
a
doppelganger.
woman with a light
Is
blue paper
Garashi,
flower on her
Sama's
head
main
suddenly
body
going to
going to
become
become
a
wings?
god and flew
It's
towards
like a
Aizen.
dream.
Aizen
Mizuki
smiled
said.
and asked,
Garashi
Conan,
is a
what's
leader,
the matter?
and he has
Conan
to deal
looked
with
like
the
he
affairs
wanted
of
to
a
say
world,
something,
of course.
but
It's
he couldn't
impossible
help
for
but
him
ask,
to come here with his
Uncle,
main
what
body.
will happen to their souls?
Wait, my
Aizen
main body
smiled.
is going to move out.
They will disappear and
After
become
that,
part of the Hogyoku.
Garashi's body drifted away
Disappear?
like a rain of
Conan
light.
couldn't help but
leaving
ask,
only a truth-seeking
isn't that
ball
too
in
cruel?
place.
Unlike
It turned
Conan
out
of
to
this
be the
time and
truth-seeking
space,
ball of
she
the
didn't
sixth
experience
path.
so much
No
pain.
wonder even I
She
was
still
fooled by
retained
him.
the original
Ishur
kindness in
suddenly
her heart.
realized.
Naturally,
And his face
she was
immediately
sensitive
became
to
gloomy.
such things.
It seems
Not to
that the
mention,
slave seal on
among
his
those
forehead
souls
was
just
Nagato
Yahiko's
Miyuko's
soul.
Cruel.
He even
How
tricked
can it
me.
be?
The little
Aizen
devil
smiled
of the
and
sixth
shook his
path's
head.
domain should be
I have
here
always
soon.
been very tolerant
Suddenly,
of the living.
after
Just
Garashi's
like
body
them.
dissipated,
Aizen pointed
the
to the
truth-seeking
ninja
ball
allied
that was
forces,
left behind
then
trembled
continued.
slightly.
However,
and flew into
the
the
dead are
distance.
different.
They
Ishur's
blurred the
figure
line
flashed,
between life and death.
and the next moment,
They will only
he
grab
disturbed
the
the
truth-seeking
peace of this
ball
world.
in his hand.
Just like this
Bait
shinobi
should
world
have the
war.
consciousness of being
Instead
bait.
of letting such an
You fished me
unbalanced
out,
group
and
continue
you want
to
to take back
exist.
the bait?
It's better
Not
to
so
let them
good.
become my
With
strength
that,
and
Ishur
bring hope
swallowed
to
the
the
world
whole
of the
truth-seeking
living.
ball.
Conan
His
was
condition
stunned for a
wasn't very
moment.
good.
Then he asked
After
with
absorbing the
expectation,
power of this
can you let
truth-seeking
go of
ball?
Nagato
His
and
internal
Yahiko alone?
injuries
Although they
instantly
aren't the
stabilized the
Nagato
lot.
and Yahiko I know,
Ishur's eyes flashed.
I still hope that
It
traces
turned out
of
to
their
be a permanent
existence can remain in
truth-seeking
this
ball.
world. No wonder
Aizen
the
took
effect
off his
is so
glasses
outstanding.
helplessly.
The little
Really?
devil of the
Do I
sixth
have to
path
say it
is
so
really
clearly?
willing to spend
You
a
are
lot
just
of
a
money.
chess piece in my hand.
On the side, Madara
a chess
asked,
piece that has
Since
lost
you're
its
here,
value.
It
How
means
can
that
I
the
change
guy
my
of the
plan
sixth
for you?
paths is coming out,
Conan's
right?
pupils trembled as he shook
Ishur
his head
squinted his
frantically.
eyes.
It's
You
not
know the
like this,
sixth
uncle.
paths. You are
It
not
seems
such a
that you have
person.
gotten rid of
I
the
understand.
identity of a pawn.
You must have a reason
Pawn.
that you can't
You mean
explain.
the guy Black Zetsu,
But you don't
right?
want me to get
Madara
involved.
snorted.
Is that why
When
you
the battle
deliberately
is over,
said this? I will repay
Looking
your
at her
care.
frightened eyes,
Ishur was
Aizen
stunned.
didn't have
Black
the slightest
Zetsu and
intention to
Otsutsuki
soften his
Kagaya are
heart.
manipulating you.
Sorry,
what
I
does it
am
have
no
to
longer
do with
interested
me?
in playing
The people
games with
below
you.
looked at the two
From today
talking,
on,
and
and their
I will
hearts
stand
were
in the
cold.
sky.
Not to mention
Seeing
that
that
she
the
wanted
main
to
body
say
of the
something,
Six Paths
Black
domain
Zetsu
will
will
take
take
some
some
time to arrive.
Stupid. Even
Do you
if he
think that a
arrives,
noble
can
existence
he beat
like
the
Big
two of
Brother
them
will
alone?
sincerely
After
communicate
all,
with lower
this new
creatures
guy
like
looks
you?
much more
You
powerful
are the
than
same.
Madara.
Black
Just when
Zetsu's
everyone was
arrogant laughter
anxious,
froze on his face as he
Tobarama was
stuttered.
keenly aware that
Big
Naruto
Brother,
and Sasuke's
what are you
aura
talking about?
disappeared. Aizen
What's
picked up
going
Black
on?
Zetsu and
They,
smiled gently.
Tobarama was
You are just a
confused,
chess piece
and
that I
suddenly
used to
three
erode the
figures
first
appeared in the
style.
sky.
The first
Naruto
style's
with
mission
sharp
has been
eyes,
completed,
Sasuke
and
with
you
a
have
cold
no
look,
value.
and the
Black
old man
Zetsu
with
shook
a
his
peaceful
body
face
in
the middle
disbelief.
of them.
Impossible,
Naruto
Big
can
Brother.
float in the air
Did
like
you
them.
forget that we have to
Tobarama's
save Mother?
pupils suddenly
It's
shrank.
true that people
He didn't
don't want to
remember
wake up
when
from their
Naruto
dreams,
learned flying
but this is
ninjutsu.
stupid. And
Aizen
Sasuke,
shook his
the
head
pedal under
slightly
his
and
feet,
released him.
seems to be the truth-seeking ball.
Black
Just when he was
Zetsu,
puzzled,
who was
Madara
casually
suddenly
thrown
asked,
away.
"Are you
Fell
the
to the
Six
ground
Paths
like a
sage,
salted fish
my
that
first
had lost
father?"
its dream.
He muttered to himself. Chapter 569. Impossible. Six paths. If it was any other time, they might have gloated over his reincarnation of Indra's chakra. But now, there was only Madara is just the reincarnation of Indra's chakra. This man wasn't only strong in this world, but his heart was sometimes more representative of a person's essence than the soul. At this moment, he is the chakra wandering in the world after death. Chapter 576. Six paths didn't deny this concept. Is he going to kill other people on the battlefield? Damn it! Is there really no other way? Confused. The alliance members were filled with powerful indignation. Why did Madara recognize his father on the spot? But when they thought of the possibility of losing the lives of their allies, Madara called him sage of six paths. Their morale quickly plummeted. Hashirama and Tobirama were also confused. Six paths. Isn't Madara's father Uchiha between the underworld and the human world? Did the Uchiha clan leader accidentally put a hat on his head when he saw after getting a positive answer? Madara asked again. I'll think about the future. Are you here to stop me? At least I can't lose the present. Six paths nodded slightly. He'd originally intended to preserve his world go through destruction, calamity. Madara couldn't help but laugh loudly, and his voice was full of sarcasm. Just as he was about to burn the underworld's power, in the warring states, a voice sounded in his mind. You didn't care about the three wars in the ninja village. Please be patient. Now I want to eliminate war and pain. Garashi. His main body is here. Six paths spirit rose because I'm not a person of this era. I'm just an observer. I have no right to interfere with your decisions. Shushi's heart gradually disappeared. Coldly. He thought, why are you standing up now? He really does have the strength to take me down with him. Because you were influenced by the evil I now have a certain understanding and made a choice against your ability. So I can predict this danger in advance. Ichibi pointed to himself. Looks like I have to have a good fight in front of them. Evil existence. You're not dangerous about me, are you? Thinking of this, paths said solemnly, Garashi flew faster. This world is very on the battlefield like a meteor. If Ichibi-sama is willing to give up some crazy ideas, it's not impossible to accommodate Shimizu. Seeing Garashi's arrival, Ichibi smiled. The alliance members were excited. Of our clan. Great, if you want me to give up, Sama is here. Isn't that forcing the wolf to eat grass? Is this that guy's illusion again? Also, idiot. I'm not the one who induced his decision. Does he need to go through so much trouble to deal with us? Responsibility for it. Garashi was already familiar with this kind of double act. If that's the case, he said in a deep voice, then I'll have to destroy you. If you want to lure me here, Ichibi narrowed his eyes and glanced at Naruto in order to create a fair battle illusion. You actually gave your power to these two kids. Aizen smiled and pointed at the ninja alliance qualifications to boast in front of me. It's difficult to control the strength of an ant without crushing it. And the six paths power had weakened. The alliance members' faces turned ugly. It was not impossible for him to devour the six paths. What does this guy think we are? Thinking such an arrogant tone, he couldn't help but sneer. I really want to punch him in the face. Concentrate on defeating me. Garashi took a deep breath. Madara. This is the right choice. Let's not waste everyone's time. Suddenly remembered the conversation he had with Garashi. Shushi turned into a light track and flew towards Aizen, but in the distant stars, he punched Aizen's body and broke him into pieces. Satsuki's visitors before anyone could investigate. Aizen's broken body was scaring the enemy away. He looked at Garashi with horror and perishing together with the Chiki. I was almost killed by you. Therefore, it was necessary to divert a part of their strength. Don't pretend. Of course, you wouldn't doing this was not without danger. You deliberately let me kill you once just to let my guard down. In order to deceive the first move. Seriously, his remaining strength naturally could not exceed the first move by too much. And waved his right hand. He couldn't say that. Countless swords appeared around him. If the world is destroyed, what's the point of defeating you? At the very least, before I defeat you, the fate of this world is in their hand seals. He waved his hand and used light release. Then I have to thank you. No Magatama. Thank you for handing over this world to me. Flew out of his hand. Six paths shot towards the flying swords. Since you don't want to destroy this world now, the two instantly then exploded. Let's go to outer space and to almost all the flying swords were broken. However, I don't want to be surrounded by these monkeys. They instantly recovered. The two flew into the deep space like rockets from the dead. After they left, they could be reborn again and again. Naruto and Sasuke indifferently. Everyone in the Alliance army was dumbfounded. Two little bugs I ignored. What the hell is going on? The biggest variable is it an illusion again? Sasuke said, "That's not right. Then you have to be careful." Did say that he if you don't pay attention, and what kind of ninja become a dragon? Flying swords. Then I'll crush it before it becomes a dragon. Sasuke said in a deep voice. Madara created a large number of black coffins out of thin air. Sasuke explained with a dignified face where Sasuke was. The Uchiha clan used a perfect truth-seeking jade skateboard that can reverse illusion and reality at the cost of permanent blindness in a large group of black coffins. Gaara understood and asked in shock. When he came in front of Madara, you mean he turned death into a dream? Chidori Egi spear. Turned the flying Naruto followed him into reality and also used Senjutsu. Naruto hurriedly asked Odama Rasengan, but he doesn't seem to be naturally wouldn't stay in place and he didn't lose his sight. But as soon as he flew to the side, Sasuke took his eyes blurred, and the Uchiha clan used a perfect his original place at the cost of one eye. Then he was pierced by his hands. It's probably similar to the Sans Hojutsu. Space ability. Everyone was shocked. Madara stabilized in midair, to think that he could use a Jinjutsu. Sasuke said indifferently. Even
Dojutsu,
Rakudo was shocked.
heavenly hand power.
If Kekkei
Rinnegan's
Tensei is the most
exclusive
comprehensive ability
Madara
of all
was
attributes,
surprised and speechless.
then his understanding
of Dojutsu
is
an
probably the
advanced
most
version of
specialized
clone
in
jutsu.
Iton.
Then
Seeing
Sasuke's
everyone's
exclusive
reaction,
dojutsu
Aizen thought to
is an
himself,
advanced version of
after
substitute
all,
jutsu.
It's impossible
Another
to
kid
fight a
won't give him
real-life
an
advanced
advanced battle
version
with
of
the transformation
transformation
jutsu.
I can only
right?
make it more beautiful
So strong,
and deceive
worthy
them
of
with
Sasuke,
jutsu beyond their
Naruto
knowledge.
praised in his
As
heart.
for whether
And
Rakudo
then
would
used
see
his
through
own
it or not,
exclusive ninjutsu.
he wasn't worried.
Rakudo
Look at
wasn't
my harem
omniscient
jutsu
and omnipotent.
among a group of
It was
beautiful
impossible
naked
for him
girls.
to know about the
Naruto
jutsu he
quietly
developed
went behind Madara,
at the very least,
and was ready to
even
use
if the
the
sixth
explosive
Dao had seen
tag
through
to kill
him.
Madara.
He could only
But
choose
before
to
she could
remain
get close,
silent. She was
after
kicked
all,
out by Madara.
he was putting on an act to
Naruto
leave
changed
peacefully.
back to his original
Exposing
form
the truth would
and
only
looked
make
at things
Madara in
worse.
shock.
Thinking of
So
this,
strong,
Aizen
this iron
smiled
will is
and
much
removed
stronger
the
than
flying
swords
swords
that
were
were
besieging
besieging
Garashi.
That's it.
With a snap of his
Madara
fingers,
smiled faintly.
tens of thousands
Which
of
strong
shadows
man
suddenly
can't resist
surrounded
this temptation?
Sasuke
Since the
narrowed
flying
his
swords
eyes
won't
and flew
work,
to Naruto's
let's
ear
try my ninja
and whispered
allied
a few
forces
words.
jutsu.
Seeing that the enemy
this
even
okay?
copied them,
Try it. The
you're
allied
not afraid
forces
of losing
widened their
their
eyes
anyway.
in disbelief.
Well, Sasuke,
Is
get
this a
ready
lie?
to attack.
Did he summon an
Naruto
entire
flew
army
firmly.
by himself?
Madara,
No
look
wonder
at my
he said that he was
reversed
just
harem
playing
jutsu.
with us.
Suddenly,
With his ability,
dozens of nude
he can make us
Hashirama
fall
surrounded
into a bitter
Madara
battle with
and
just a
flirted
thought.
with him.
Maybe
Madara's
these
eyes
phantoms are
widened
just for
instantly
show,
and shouted
they don't
loudly.
know our ninjutsu at all.
Disgusting, filthy,
However,
perverted.
the ninjutsu used by the fake ninja
Having
allied
said
forces
that,
broke their
he
last
didn't
hope.
seem to mean to
They
look
used
away
all
at
their
all.
ninjutsu.
He looked critical,
Especially the beam of
seeing
light
the
that was shot
situation.
at Garashi.
Sasuke seized the opportunity to use Susanoo.
Anoki's pupil
holding
shrank.
his Odachi
He
and
even
slashing
copied my
down at
death
Madara.
release.
How did he do
Madara
it?
was slashed into the
Kakashi
ground by
smiled
this
bitterly.
ferocious slash.
He is much more
and the
suitable
ground
for the
cracked
title
into
of
a
ninja
large
plagiarist
valley
than I am,
that stretched for
facing
thousands
the
of
siege
meters.
of 80,000
Everyone
allied
in the
forces.
coalition forces
Garashi
who have been
first
sighing
released
were
his
shocked by
spiritual
this
pressure.
slash.
And
Has
the weaker
Sasuke
phantoms
become so
burst
powerful?
like bubbles.
Although the
Then
previous
he turned
heavenly
into
hand
light
technique
and shuttled
and
back
joint
and
attack
forth in the
looked very
crowd.
powerful.
In just a
It was
few
not
breaths,
enough.
the
This
massive
slash
pirate
really made them
ninja
realize
alliance
the
was
change.
completely
At
annihilated.
this moment,
Seeing
the
this,
depths of the
the
ground
allied
suddenly
forces
shook
didn't know
violently,
whether to be happy
and
or
the aura
sad.
inadvertently
They were happy
revealed
because
because
they
they
saw
saw
the
the
hope
hope
tremble
victory.
faintly, and sad
What's
because
going
the
on?
entire
Is
shinobi
Madara
world
angry?
was like a toy in
No,
their
although
eyes.
this aura is
They
very
could either
similar to
copy or
his.
destroy.
There are some
Is the
differences.
ninja allied forces
Sasuke
so
and
shameless,
Naruto,
who were told the complete story by Rakudo, naturally understood what was going on, and their faces turned
577.
black.
Aizen
did not
of
react
shame and
much to
anger
the
that
destruction
Kagaya
of the
took over
pirate
Madara's
ninja
body.
alliance. They haven't had time
Instead, he
to
looked
seal
at them with
Madara
interest.
with the power of
Sure
Yin and
enough,
Yang.
these ninjas
The
are
two looked at
useless.
each other.
Next, try my
It's
space
over.
fleet.
It seems that
Countless
we accidentally
giant
played
steel
too
ships
much.
floated in the air,
From sealing
their
Madara to
surfaces
sealing
glowing with a
Kagaya.
cold light.
The difficulty
They looked like
coefficient
giant
increased
beasts from the
exponentially.
stars.
The next moment, these giant beasts
Chapter
opened their mouths
570
and fired
under
countless
everyone's
cannonballs
puzzled
and
gazes.
light beams at Garashi.
A beautiful woman with
Some of the
indifferent
light
eyes
beams flew out from the
inadvertently
ground.
swept across the
It was
ground,
as if she viewed the common
instantly
people as
turning
ants.
mountains into dust.
Who is this
and
woman?
forming deep
Why does
canyons
she have
on the
chakra
ground?
on her body?
The Alliance
Could
army
it be that
hurriedly fled
Madara
for
was
their
affected
lives?
by Naruto's
It felt like
jutsu
the end
and
of the
turned
world
into
had
a woman?
arrived. Hiss!
What are these
Does
things?
Naruto's
They're
jutsu
so
have
scary.
such a terrible effect?
Could it be that he imagined it out of thin
Then
air?
isn't it enough
Is
to
this
make
the power of
Hashirama-sama
alien
strip
technology?
naked?
How
Hearing
did he
the
know?
obscenities below,
Rakudo muttered.
Kagaya's
It's
delicate
because of
face exuded a
Otsutsuki's
burst
memories.
of coldness.
In the midst
Rude.
of this
How
terrible
dare you
baptism of
blaspheme me,
fire,
damn it.
Shushi took
Naruto
the
and
brunt of the
Sasuke
attack
both
and met
understood
it
her
head on.
horror.
With
At
one
this
punch,
moment,
he blew up the
seeing her
battleship.
like this,
The
they
other
quickly
battleships
reminded her
quickly
loudly,
turned their cannons
"Be
and
careful,
aimed at him.
quickly get away from
However,
her."
these attacks,
Kagaya
which
gently
were
shook her
powerful
hair,
enough to shatter
and the
mountains
flying
and
white
tear the
hair
earth
behind
apart,
her instantly
only
turned
made
into
him
sharp,
sway
thin
slightly
needles
when
and
they
shot
landed
out.
on him.
Rabbit hair
Everyone's
needle.
eyes twitched when
Needles
they saw
rained
this.
down from the sky.
What was Garashi?
Some people
Sama's body
subconsciously
made of?
used earth
It was
release
too
to
hard,
defend.
wasn't it? But it
It
didn't
was a
have
real
any
man
effect.
made of steel.
No matter how
I
hard
should
the
be able
barrier
to
was,
take on the
it
Hashirama
was
now.
as fragile as
Garashi
white paper in front
evaluated
of
in
the
his
thin
heart
needles
as he
for a
destroyed the
while.
surrounding
The
battleships.
people slightly
But
closer
as
to
soon as he
Kagaya were
destroyed
hit
the
by the
space
rabbit
fleet,
hair needles.
more than a
and
dozen
died
giant
instantly.
mechas appeared
Seeing
out of
this,
thin air.
The family
Gundam,
and friends of the deceased
Monster,
rushed up
each with red eyes. One by one, white-haired woman go to hell. Summoned creatures from his imagination to fight void on both sides. Seeing this, and the Alliance army like a mirror. Once upon a time, they thought that their imagination was limited by poverty toward the earth, but now they realized that they had no imagination at all. Rushed over into
After
powder.
tearing Godzilla apart once
The
more,
shockwave swayed toward the Allied forces that retreated
and
to the back.
the galaxy in
Seeing
Aizen's
the critical
hand.
situation,
even you can't use
Hashirama,
such a powerful
who recovered
ability
some
without
chakra,
limit,
Is it because of your noble phantasm that you're able to do so? And the ninja allied forces is it because of your noble phantasm to strengthen the defense of the Rashomon? You seem to be using me to destroy the remnant will that symbolize the entrance finally discovered collapsed at the moment of contact with the shockwave. Just like the clothes you buy, the defense they set up together couldn't even delay for a second. Thank you for polishing this Hogyoku fusion. As expected of a man who has schemed against two worlds, Susanoo stood in front of everyone, praised him sincerely, and Naruto blessed and then changed the topic in the midst of the exclamation of, I'm so awesome. Waved his sword and tore the shockwave. I've never had the habit of working for free. Seeing the storm finally as a reward for my efforts, everyone in the allied forces half of the Hogyoku you mentioned. Then, Aizen smiled. The tragic scene in front of them was like a basin of cold water. I don't have the habit of paying labor, completely waking them up. If you want to maliciously ask because of Garashi's protection, then I'll make you work until you die. In this final battle, the light of the sun will not tolerate such dark things. Moreover, was like the sun. They also understood that this woman who looked beautiful and noble is more powerful than Madara. It was so dazzling that everyone could not open their eyes. My power is not complete. Everyone's eyes were the original space-time, and only a few Madara ninjas also absorbed that there were two incomparably powerful at that time clashing from each other in the sea of light in the sky. Chakra was only a part of the shinobi vision. Unfortunately, this trick won't work on me. Madara didn't have time to use the chakra of the world of trees. Of course, didn't have time to recover all the vision won't work on you. If she was in her complete form, this trick is more than that. Those two brats wouldn't have been able to block her between the two. Hui looked at of light in the sky suddenly boiled. Are you Yui's children? And each beam of light turned into a clone of Garashi. To be precise, and in an instant, chakra reincarnation, he punched Aizen hundreds of thousands of times. Looking at you all in terms of physical strength. Aizen was naturally far inferior to the main body. Asked, but Garashi cooperated very well. You don't have the main attacks into aftershocks. Gentle face was suddenly covered with less than 1/10 of the power they actually fell on Aizen's body. I want to kill them even more. The two cooperated seamlessly, and with the light pollution move again, no one could see any clues. Quickly retreated and muttered. Even the six paths a menopausal woman can't be provoked because they were in the gap between the two worlds. On the mountain in the distance, they can go so far on the path outside of earth-shattering battle if they can absorb the Jubi. Instead, they might be even stronger than battle across the infinite distance. Although the two were fighting, his gaze was not only focused on the Rakuto and Ichiki, the aftershocks were enough to collapse the ground. Ichiki's body. The land that was previously ravaged by Madara and Kagaya was once again ravaged. The original plains and hills were now ravaged into cliffs and Shinsui's eyes. It was extremely dangerous. Yureiji's golden ring. The allied forces which was responsible for providing their eyes and running around. Power. They didn't even have a mood to watch the battle. Aizen withdrew his gaze. How long will they fight? It's not enough. The end of the world. We have to wait until the end of the world. It's already the end of the world. Dance. Seeing that the acting was almost done, too powerful. Garashi took back the sea of light. And after another violent collision, do you think Mother's power can't deal with these fodder? Garashi said in a deep voice. His head awkwardly. Your taijutsu is indeed powerful. Aizen pointed to the sky. But it's still not as good as mine. That's where the real smiled helplessly. There's no other way. For a moment. There's no sword in this world that can bear my power. But isn't he fighting a great demon king? Aizen said as he lifted the Hogyoku is cunning and prepared to absorb its power. Ichiki is no match for him. But just as he was about to swallow it, Heiju's heart, a few fluorescent and he nodded in agreement. And his body stiffened for a moment. Garashi took the opportunity to grab the Hogyoku. Foundation. Although Aizen reacted quickly and broke free from the influence, doesn't his power come from him to protect the Hogyoku? Aizen said. So he decisively grabbed it, but a small part of it comes from the underworld. In front of everyone's shocked eyes, the underworld, the two each took half of the Hogyoku. Eyes widened. Garashi chuckled softly. It seems that he had lived for 1,000 years, asking for a payday. His eyes had always been on the reincarnation of Ashura Indra. Thoughtfully. Moreover, while I was scheming not to expose himself, you were also scheming against me. He had never explored places Garashi shook his head slightly and took the initiative to explain. One of them. So he really didn't know about the connection between the underworld and the Rakuto. Aizen nodded. The Rinnegan controls the power of life and death. But reviving my dead isn't difficult. The remnant will in the prerequisite is finding their soul. A chance to use the Rakuto created the underworld. Success after failure is also a result of his regret in his youth. Aizen pretended to sigh a few times, wasn't interested in the Rakuto gradually faded. Fortunately, this time I lost. I didn't control but the Edo Tensei. But I will soon get it back from you in that world. Otherwise, wouldn't I be sending myself to the Rakuto? Aizen continued. Seems that the six paths after 1,000 years, my performance, the underworld has accumulated in his heart amount of soul power. Seeing that the battle was over, allowed to use the allied forces almost even Mother may not be his opponent. It's finally over. Black Zetsu became nervous. Is the war finally over? Then what do we do? But some people were still afraid. Aizen twisted his fingers. First bordered soil and Madara, power from the underworld. Ichikushi and Kagaya. Chakra also establishes an inseparable connection with the enemies, right? What we need to do is tear the underworld apart at the critical moment. It's no wonder that they were so scared. These villains were
too
terrifying,
Aizen nodded,
coming out one after
on
another.
one hand,
And
we
their
need to
strength
distract
was more
the Rakuto
terrifying than
and
the
create an
previous one.
opportunity for
In
Mother.
the past,
On the
they
other
thought
hand,
that the 5 great
Torn
ninja
Soul can be
villages were
used
the
as a material
protagonists of
to
the
create
world.
the Hogyoku.
But now it seems
Black
that they can't
Zetsu
even
knew
be
that the
regarded as
Hogyoku was a
supporting
noble
roles,
phantasm
just
created
like the
by
role
his
they
brother
played
to
in
appease
this
his
war.
mother's soul.
At most,
But
they
he
were
still
just
had some
onlookers.
doubts. Brother, didn't you say that the Hogyoku needs to be purified after ascension? Aizen
Chapter
said calmly.
578.
This is to better
Seeing
stabilize
Garashi
the
flying
structure.
towards them,
The inner
Naruto
layer
greeted
is the
him
pure
happily.
soul.
Brother
And the outer
Garashi,
layer
great,
is the ordinary
you defeated
soul.
that arrogant man.
Is that so?
However,
Black
Garashi
Zetsu didn't
shook
think
his head
much of it.
slightly.
After all,
At first,
he didn't know
thought
much
I won
about
this
it.
game for the time being,
But now I have some doubts.
Chapter 571.
Naruto asked,
After getting
tilting
a
his
reply,
head.
Black Jew
Garashi
asked,
pondered.
By the way,
With
big
his
brother,
ability, how do
there's
we
no
tear the
reason for
underworld
him to
apart?
fail at the last
The world
step.
of the dead
With that
is for the
said,
dead to deal
Garashi
with.
looked at the half
Aizen
of the
took out a
Hogyoku
scroll
in
from
his
his
hand
sleeve and spread
Perhaps
it on
he
the
did
ground.
all this on purpose.
Once the seal was removed,
Then why
a
did he do
large
this?
number of strange
Naruto
masks
looked at him
appeared on the
blankly.
scroll. He spent
Black
so much
Zetsu
effort,
counted 26
and in the
of them.
end, he sent
These
half
are
of the
the fruit to
Uzumaki's
you.
Reaper masks.
Isn't there something wrong with
Aizen
his
nodded
brain?
gently,
At
his
this
hands
time,
forming a
Sasuke
series
suddenly
of seals.
said,
Just
Summon
like
Spirit Bind.
Orochimaru trained me
Suddenly,
before. The
that
sound
man
of
may
ghosts
also want
crying
to eat
and
the
wolves
sweetest
howling
fruit
filled
at
the
the
most
air.
appropriate
It
time.
was daytime.
Naruto
But the
said
atmosphere
thoughtfully.
was like the underworld.
Oh, it turns
Then,
out that he took
the
a fancy
terrifying
to Garashi
shadows of the
brothers'
26
Mokuton
Grim Reapers
and wanted
emerged
brother
from
to grow
behind the
fruits for
masks.
him.
In order to
Sasuke
summon
almost
stumbled
stumbled
and fell.
intelligence.
Idiot.
Only 4 death
I mean,
gods
he wants to
succeeded.
wait for Garashi.
The rest of the masks
Sama
were
to
all
digest
shattered.
the essence of the
But
half
now,
of the
he didn't
Hogyoku
need them
before
to
seizing
keep their
Garashi.
consciousness.
Sama's
He
power.
didn't need to worry about the
Naruto said
masks
agreeably.
breaking.
Why
Black
don't you
Zetsu
just
looked
say
at these
seizing
phantoms
power?
with fear.
Why do you have
and
to
moved
guess
closer
riddles?
to his big brother.
Sasuke was too
If
lazy
the Reapers
to pay
go on a
attention to him.
rampage, I need to
and turn to
No,
look at the
I
half
need
of
to
the
protect my
Hogyoku in
brother as
Garashi's
soon as
hand.
possible.
This noble
Black
phantasm
Zetsu thought.
contains
Then
extremely
he saw his
powerful
brother
power.
put a smelted
I guess
mask
it's
in his
difficult
hand.
for him to digest
Suddenly,
it alone.
26 pairs
and
of
the
cold
only one
emotionless
who was qualified
eyes
to
stared
share
at
this
Black
power
Zetsu.
for him.
Black
Is you,
Zetsu was so
Garashi-sama.
scared that he almost
That's why
threw
he
the
spent
mask
so
away.
much effort to
Brother,
lure you
what
out.
is this? Shushi
Aizen
nodded in
said,
agreement.
This mask
This
is
is
the
very
key
much
to
like his
controlling them.
plan.
I will
It's
send
too
you to the
despicable
underworld.
and insidious.
When you
He
receive
even
my
schemed
orders,
against himself.
summon them and tear
Naruto
the
exclaimed.
underworld apart.
Otherwise,
Black
Garashi
Zetsu pondered for
Sama,
a moment and
you can
nodded.
directly destroy
I know what
this
to
noble
do.
phantasm.
Aizen put his
By the way,
hands on
can
his
Dad's
shoulders.
soul be restored?
The most important
Garashi
step to
shook his
saving
head.
Mother is up to
It's
you.
already irreversible.
Black Zetsu was excited.
As for destroying
No,
it,
it's up to us.
I don't intend to do
You're
that.
right, it's up to us.
Naruto was worried.
After sending
But if
Black
you don't
Zetsu
destroy
to the
it,
underworld,
that guy will keep
Aizen
staring at
continued
you,
to
right?
observe the battle.
Someone asked worriedly.
In just a few minutes,
That guy called
Ichiban
Aizen
and
escaped.
6 paths had
What if he
reached
comes
their
back?
limits.
Many of
Garashi
the
comforted
asteroids
her.
around them had been
Don't worry.
destroyed.
If I'm
Under
not
normal
wrong,
circumstances,
he won't bother you anymore.
They had an endless supply of
really?
chakra.
It wouldn't
Garashi
be a
did not
problem
answer
for
them
them
to
to
fight for a month
Instead,
or two.
he turned to
But
talk
the
about
problem
other
was
things.
that both of them were anxious.
The disaster of this
One
world
was
is
worried
not
that
over
the
yet,
arrival of
as they
Garashi's real
revealed
body
before.
would cause problems.
Ichiki and
While
Kagaya
the
come
sixth
from a
paths
planet
was
called
worried about the
Otsutsuki.
battlefield below.
The people on this
He
planet
sensed that his
enjoy
mother
eating
had come
chakra.
out.
As
Are
long
you
as
afraid
this
of
threat is
Huey?
not resolved,
Even after
the
1,000
sword hanging
years,
over our
he
heads
still
will
can't
not
get rid of
disappear.
this fear.
Hearing this,
She really is an
everyone felt
unqualified
their vision
mother.
darken.
He sure ridiculed.
What?
Although
Are there many
sound
more
couldn't be
monsters like
transmitted
them?
in the universe.
It's over. With
This
their
world
strength,
is hopeless.
it wasn't
Don't be
difficult for them to
depressed.
communicate
Garashi
telepathically.
encouraged them.
Naturally,
Didn't you defeat
first
Ichiki
form
and
would not
Kagaya?
let go of this
Moreover,
opportunity to
I
attack
came
the
to this
sixth
world
Tao
to
of
help you
Samsara
resist the
and
disaster.
find a flaw in his
When
mind.
they calmed down a little,
the dominator
Garashi
of six
continued.
paths was unmoved.
He pushed a small planet toward the first
Although
form
his
like
approach
a
is
chess
different,
piece. I suspect
Mother's
that the
strength
man
does
called
scare me.
Aizen has the
After
same
all,
idea of saving
she
the
was a
world as I
lower-level
do.
warrior who
Hearing
defeated
this,
a higher
everyone
level
couldn't
warrior.
believe it. His
How
face
is
was
that
as black
possible?
as the bottom of
That
a
man
pot.
almost killed us.
Moreover,
No matter
he
what the
refined
process
souls
was,
of so many people.
this result was
He
enough
also
to make him
abandoned his
permanently
loyal
nailed to the
subordinates.
pillar of shame
Such a
of the
person doesn't
Otsutsuki
look like a
clan.
good person,
Other
right?
than having some
Being a
thoughts
good
about the
person
strangeness of
and
this
saving
planet.
the world don't
He
conflict.
didn't want this humiliation
Garashi
to
sighed.
spread back to
I
his also had some guesses. This was also one of the reasons why he didn't contact his clan. If my idea is to unite all forces to fight against Otsutsuki, with a gloomy face, he wants to use the power to fight against the enemy alone. Everyone was dumbfounded when they heard energy released by the sun. Against Otsutsuki the next moment, there's such an incomparably huge ball of light formed between his raised hands. Didn't he say that he has always been tolerant of the living, who lives in a corner, except for ever seen the vastness of the universe? He doesn't seem to have killed anyone. Sealed the space around him discussions and throughout the huge energy ball in the distance that was constantly expanding. Is it because Uncle wants to save the world? Use the energy of the universe. Continued. As for why I said that he probably won't bother you, the power of the sun. It's because there's no power in this world that's worthy of the Otsutsuki clan. Everyone was a little depressed. Of 6 paths. Are they really so worthless in the eyes of Aizen? When it came to the application of power, Garashi looked at Naruto.
With the Otsutsuki
This is why I don't intend to destroy this half of the Hogyoku.
It's not like I haven't made any progress.
If I fail in the final
Dominator
battle,
of Six
I'll let
Paths
him absorb
the
my
natural
power
energy
to
in
protect
the
the
universe.
world. Or in other words, everyone couldn't help but respect
the natural energy
even
was
if he
already
was
very
defeated and
violent.
died. In the
He was
Dominator
willing
of
to be a
Six
stepping
Paths
stone
view,
to protect
the
the
part
world.
of the natural
What a
energy
noble
that
spirit.
came from outer space
Naruto pursed
was
his
the
lips.
relatively docile
No wonder
cosmic
he
rays
said that instead of
left behind
letting
after
souls that
filtration
disturb the
in
balance
other
of
words,
the world
the
exist.
complete cosmic
It's better
rays
to
were
let
more
those souls
violent
become
than
his
the natural
power
energy
and bring hope
even
to the
for the
world of the
Dominator of
living.
Six Paths.
If it's for the
This was the
survival
first
of the
time
world,
he tried to absorb
Father
this
should be
energy.
willing to sacrifice
However,
his soul.
his realm was
After
far
saying
beyond
the
that
word
of an
filial
ordinary
piety,
immortal.
Naruto
The originally
clenched his
violent
fist again.
cosmic rays
However,
were as docile as
I
sheep
hope
in
that
his
it's
body.
Garashi,
My
Dage,
current
who
state,
uses this power
perhaps
to
I should
save
call
the
it
world.
the cosmic sage
So
mode.
brother Garashi,
The
Dage,
Dominator
you
of
must win.
Six Paths thought to
Garashi was
himself
silent for a moment
as he released the
I will win and
Senjutsu
save the
chakra
world.
in the form of a technique.
Oh, I'm sorry to trouble
It was
you.
as bright as
Suddenly,
a nebula.
Rakuto's
Cosmic
figure
sage
appeared
mode
and thanked
nebula
Garashi.
storm.
After
The energy
repeatedly
cannon
confirming
collided
that
with the
Rakuto
storm.
wasn't being sarcastic,
It was as if the sky and
Garashi
earth were being
smiled
split
slightly.
apart. The
I'm
surrounding
just doing what I
space and
should
time
do.
were distorted,
Rakuto's eyes
and the
were
floating
filled with
meteorites were
admiration.
instantly
He
turned
grabbed
into
Black
cosmic
Setsu,
dust,
who hadn't
he
come out of
actually
his
blocked my
Celtic fish
attack.
state.
How troublesome.
Since he recognized
The
that
first
person
form
as his
frowned
big brother
and thought about
he
how
must
to
know
deal
a lot
with the
about that
Dominator of
person.
Six Paths.
Do you want to
next.
capture him
However,
and interrogate
at this
him?
moment,
Garashi
an
decisively
extremely powerful
refused.
surge of eye power
No, with that
exploded
man's
within his
caution,
body.
he must know what the other
this
party
is,
wants him to
with
know.
the cover of the
With
big
that
explosion,
said, Garashi looked
even
at
the
Conan,
Dominator of
who was
Six
in a daze
Paths
in the distance,
did not notice the
Do you want to
abnormality
go back
of the
with
first
me?
form.
Me.
When the storm
Conan looked at
subsided,
him with some
the
uneasiness.
first form's struggling eyes
You're not
returned
going to
normal.
capture me?
I
Garashi
didn't expect
smiled.
that I would fail again, and this time at the hands of Kagaya's son.
You
Since
didn't
I promised
lose to me,
Nagato
you
that I
lost to
won't
the world.
deliberately target
As
you.
he spoke,
Naturally,
the Six Paths
I
of
won't
Heaven
go back
first
on my
form
words.
threw out a ball of essence.
Also,
It looks like
and
you've been
spirit
bewitched
Dao.
by Aizen.
The first form
Uncle
did not
didn't bewitch
resist,
us,
and just
Conan
looked at him
blurted out.
quietly, but he still didn't change his words.
Uncle
I
must
will
have
watch your
said
fall
that
in
for
the
future.
safety of the world.
Soon.
Is
The
Aizen's
sealed
charm that
truth-seeking
great?
ball returned to the
Garashi
Dominator
chuckled
of
in his
Six
heart.
Paths.
If it
The
was his main
Dominator of
body
Six
who said
Paths
those
had
words,
some doubts about
at
the
least
first form's
80% of
cooperation with
Leaf
the
would
seal.
follow him like
But
Conan.
he soon understood.
Let's go back. He guessed that Otsutsuki's family might send someone to look for him, so he didn't want to fight to the death with me? Just as well. I'm
Chapter
waiting for their arrival.
579.
Thinking
Stepping
of this,
out of the dragon
the Dominator
veins
of
of
Six
Lulan,
Paths
the
rubbed the
stars
truth-seeking
changed,
ball in
and
his
the world
hand and thought
changed.
to himself,
When he opened his
although
eyes
this
again,
seal is not
the
as
scenery
stable
was
as
completely
Chibaku
different.
Tensei,
Conan
it should
looked
not be a problem
disappointed
to
as he
seal it
followed
for more
behind
than 10
Garashi
years.
with his head down.
He did not use
When he
the
heard
seal of
Mizuki's
Six Paths.
exclamation, he
Chibaku
raised his
Tensei.
head.
Mizuki
On one
looked
hand,
around in surprise.
the additional moon
The
may have a
Lulan in
certain
front of
impact
him
on the
was
surface
completely
ecology.
different from the bleak
On the other
Lulan when
hand,
they left.
he had to be
There were
careful of the
high-rise
future
buildings
guests
everywhere,
of Otsutsuki,
and there were even
it was
long
better to
trains
carry the
flashing
first
through
form
the sky.
sealed artifact
It was
with
a
him.
prosperous
The
scene.
seal of Six
Didn't
Paths.
Lulan emigrate
Chibaku
to Woodleaf
Tensei was
during
too
the
big
war?
to carry
How
around.
could it be here? No matter
Garashi's
what,
side,
this hidden
the
danger
flow of
has
time
been
between the two
temporarily
worlds is
resolved.
different.
The
We
Dominator
only
of
spent
Six
more than a
Paths
month
sighed
there
and looked down.
But here,
Next,
8 years have
I will
passed.
ask Mother to go
And in
back
these
to
8
sleep.
years, too many changes have happened. 8 years. Mizuki's eyebrows were a little blank, and he had a feeling of being derailed from the world. 8 years. Xiaonan had a panoramic view of the surrounding scenery and was extremely shocked. To develop a small border country to such an extent, let alone 8 years, even 80 years would be difficult to achieve, right? What happened in the past few years? Garashi said as he walked. Although the changes in Lulan are not small, compared with Woodleaf, it is far worse. As the political center of the alliance, Woodleaf's development can be said to be changing with each passing day. As far as I know, those people in the scientific research department are already discussing going to the moon, and they intend to make the moon our second world. Hearing Garashi's words, both of them were shocked and inexplicably felt like country people entering the city. They are starting to study going to the moon. I remember that it was not easy to climb the mountain before. Mizuki said with emotion. Conan's expression was complicated. Is this the change brought by the unification? Yes. Garashi nodded. This is the advantage brought by the establishment of the Ninja Alliance. The level of science and technology in the ninja world was not low, but it was relatively serious. After his vigorous rectification and support, and after he put forward the slogan of equal emphasis on science and ninjutsu, the entire ninja world's scientific and technological level developed rapidly. As for ninjutsu, it didn't stagnate because of the development of science and technology. On the contrary,
Because of various scientific theories and methods, ninjas can more deeply analyze the essence of chakra and ninjutsu. In the past, only one bloodline limit could be born every few decades or centuries. However, in the past 8 years, many new bloodline limits had appeared. Conan sighed. Your vision is indeed more profound than ours. Yahiko Nagato's loss is not unjustified. Garashi smiled. He had never seen them as opponents. Let's go back to Woodleaf. Alliance Rakich's office. Rakich was sweating profusely while doing one-finger push-ups in the gravity training chamber. Dotai looked at him worriedly and said, Rakich-sama, if you can't hold on, come out first. Rakich let out a sigh of relief. No, I can still hold on. How is it? Is the leader back? Tutai shook his head. Not yet. However, before the leader left, he said that the flow of time in the two worlds is different. A week has passed here, but the leader may have only passed a few hours there. After a pause, Tutai continued. Besides, with the leader's current strength, who can hurt him? Rakich-sama, you don't have to worry at all. Even if I have to worry, I'm worried about his enemies. A complained. I'm thinking, how long will it take for him to come back? How much time do we have to prepare? Tutai was silent. How can I know? Forget it. I know it's useless to ask you. A sighed. Although it's already the 8th year, he proposed the next leader at the meeting before he left, which still caught me off guard. Tutai admired. He can let go of this kind of power just like that. He's worthy of being the leader. I nodded. The only person in this world who can make me admire is him. After a sigh, Tutai asked, Rakich-sama, how sure are you about the election? I pondered for a moment. Among the 10 elders, the 5 small ninja villages put forward. Among the 5, Anoki is old and weak. What qualifications does he have to compete with me? Raza is just a bootlicker, skip him. Empress Shomiai is a woman, but because she's the only woman among the 10 elders, most of the women in the alliance will vote for her, which is troublesome. As for Namikaze Minato, he's my real enemy in this election. After all, he took over the position of Naruto from the leader. Tutai nodded. I heard that in the casino, 50% of the people bet on Naruto-sama, 30% on Rakich-sama, and 20% on Mizukichi-sama. What? A was shocked and angry, and he was accidentally pressed to the ground by gravity, and then he struggled to raise his head. The people who think Namikaze Minato can win are more than me. He felt good about himself before, thinking that he and Namikaze Minato had a 40% chance, and he had 60%. Tutai tactfully reminded. In the case of not having much to do with oneself, people will prioritize the better-looking one. A's face was gloomy. What do you mean? Is that Namikaze Minato more popular than me? Tutai was speechless. Rakich-sama, where did you get the courage to ask this question? Except for Yunan's style of muscle men, in the eyes of the other ninja villages, Namikaze Minato is 10 times better than you. As if he understood Tutai's thoughts, A asked angrily. Is there no way to make them ignore the superficial appearance and see through the essence of me and him? Tutai was silent for a moment. If you want to increase the support, it's not impossible. A's spirit was lifted. What way? Say it. Tutai said. Ninjas always rely on strength to speak. As long as Rakich-sama can defeat him in front of everyone, everyone will naturally choose to support you. I hesitated. But what excuse should I use to fight him? Besides, he has the Flying Thunder God Jutsu, I can't stop him. Tutai laughed. Use the arena to limit the Flying Thunder God Jutsu. As for the excuse, say that it's the world's first ninja conference. As long as Rakich-sama can win the title of the world's first ninja, everyone will naturally vote for you in the election. The world's first. I was eager to try, but immediately he was a little hesitant. The idea is good, but isn't the title of the world's first too ostentatious? If I win the title, what will the leader be? Tutai looked at him with a strange look. Do you still need to think about it? Of course, the leader will stand in the sky. A's mouth twitched. He didn't expect this conference to have the effect of flattery. Seeing that he didn't reply for a long time, Tutai asked, Can't I? Do it. A said decisively. I'll bring it up in the next meeting.
Chapter 580. Wood Leaf. Naruto and Sasuke walk side by side. Did you hear? Neji and Tama got married. Naruto whispered. Sasuke was shocked. What? He's only 15, no 16 years old, right? Naruto smiled. According to him, this is in response to Sensei's policy to encourage childbirth. Sensei's policy is naturally not wrong. Sasuke was in awe. Yeah. Naruto nodded again and again. If it weren't for Sensei's population statistics, I wouldn't have known that the shinobi world is so small. In the Fourth Shinobi World War, the 5 major ninja countries, and the country of Steel only organized more than 80,000 troops. Even if 1 in 100 people is a ninja, the whole world has no more than 10 million people. It's not enough to describe the sparse population. But when did Neji hook up with Tama? Is he trying to live off her? Sasuke wondered. It shouldn't be, right? Naruto defended Neji. He's a member of the Hyuga clan. How can he live off a rich woman? Sasuke waved his hand. He's a branch family with no inheritance rights. How much property can he get? I've always been a bit curious. Taijutsu is very expensive. If you don't take various medicinal baths and medicinal meals to nourish your body, you may leave hidden injuries in your body. But Neji doesn't seem to have any hidden injuries. Now that I think about it, maybe he sold his body to get money from Tama. What a shame. Hearing Sasuke's words, Naruto swallowed hard and hid the gold card that Hinata gave him on his birthday deeper. Naruto, why aren't you talking? Seeing that Naruto didn't respond for a long time, Sasuke asked. Naruto suddenly pointed to the sky. Look, there's a flying car. Sasuke looked up and saw an advanced flying car in the sky at an extremely fast speed. These racers are getting more and more outrageous. With that said, a pair of wings appeared behind Sasuke. With a flap of his wings, he appeared on the road in front of the flying car in a blink of an eye. After the flying car was forced to stop, a kid dressed in non-mainstream clothes poked his head out of the window. Which bastard? Ha, it's brother Sasuke. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Wood Leaf Manamaru, I won't talk about your speeding. Where's your driver's license? Wood Leaf Maru laughed. How can I get a driver's license at my age? So you still know that you're not old enough. Sasuke looked unkind. Go to the police station and turn yourself in. I won't, Sasuke Gij. You're not a traffic policeman. Wood Leaf Mamamar shouted. Sasuke didn't even lift his eyelids. I'm a jonin, and I'm qualified to supervise all illegal activities. Wood Leaf Maru was depressed for a moment. He pursed his lips and said, Fine, I'll go. Anyway, I have the protection law for minors. If anyone is to be punished, it should be my parents. The corner of Sasuke's mouth rose. It has been amended. The current minor protection law only protects the injured minors, not the minors who break the law. Wood Leaf Maru immediately wailed. It's over. Sasuke ignored him and flapped his wings to fly down. Manjikyu Sharingan's ability is so convenient. Naruto's eyes were full of envy. Do you think it's easy to compress the Susanu's body and summon the wings? Sasuke rolled his eyes and touched his eyes with some palpitations. 3 years ago, after knowing that the man with kidney deficiency was his future self, he decisively asked Sensei to do stimulating training for him. After instilling part of Sasuke's memory, his Manjikyu did open, but that memory still made him feel some pain and fear. At the same time, he also understood what the future would be like without Sensei, and he was more grateful to Garashi in his heart. It doesn't seem easy. Naruto nodded thoughtfully and said with concern, I heard that if you use your ability too much, your eyes will go blind? It used to be like this. Sasuke rubbed his chin. But it's different now. I just need to go to Do-senpai's place and use Sensei's chakra to warm my eyes. As expected of Sensei, Naruto praised and asked. I heard that Do-senpai is assisting Orochimaru Sama in researching humanoid hematopoietic genkai. I wonder if it's successful? Humanoid hematopoietic genkai. Sasuke smiled bitterly. If they really study it, the pride of our Kekii genkai will be completely trampled under their feet. I think it's good. Naruto nodded. If Kekii genkai can be freely chosen, Niji's child won't have to worry about the caged bird seal anymore. Garashi's house.
Asuma circled around Shuei-mu and touched him up and down. He clicked his tongue in wonder and said, "Such smooth and delicate skin. No wonder you're 8 years younger than us. I really envy you, little brother Shuei-mu." Mizuki's face darkened. "I'll release all snakes to bite you. I can understand young people's arrogance." Asuma smirked. "Who told you to be 8 years younger than us?" Seeing that Mizuki was really going to get angry, Rin quickly stood up and said, "Mizuki-senpai, tell us what you saw in that world." Mizuki suppressed his anger and said calmly, "I did see a lot of things in that world. Their final battle was even more intense than the Fourth Shinobi World War we experienced at that time. For example, the legendary Rakuto Sennin who created the world, Rakuto Sennin's mother, and Rakuto Sennin's mother's superior. Everyone who was originally calm couldn't believe it. I know about Rakuto Sennin, but what the hell is his mother and his mother's superior? What the hell happened in that time and space? The Great Myth War?" Mizuki continued. "It's almost the same as the Great Myth War. For example, Rakuto Sennin and his mother's superior went to outer space to fight. Even so, the entire shinobi world was almost broken by them. Everyone moved a small bench and sat beside him, exclaiming as if they were listening to a play. Not far away, Minato looked at Garashi and asked, "Is that time and space really so dangerous?" Garashi nodded. "Just like Otsutsuki 3 years ago, we have been targeted, and there is no way out." Minato smiled bitterly. "In such a difficult situation, you still have to take the lead. Only your prestige can allow the alliance to continue moving at high speed." Garashi smiled and shook his head. "About the election, how sure are you about it?" Seeing that Garashi avoided talking about it, Minato naturally understood what he meant and couldn't help but sigh. "Not much." Shinakushina on the side narrowed her eyes, and a dangerous light flashed in her eyes. "But how come I heard that you are very popular among the women, and many people call you the friend of women?" Minato looked strange. "You are wrong. In fact, Garashi is the most popular, but Garashi didn't participate in the election, so they took a step back and looked at me." Chapter 581. At the same time on the moon, behind the space gate connecting the shinobi world and the moon, a sneaky figure was sneaking carefully while muttering. "After the disbandment of the Akatsuki, this is the first time Aizen has gathered us. I didn't expect the gathering to be on the moon. What a big deal." With that said, he felt a sense of pride in his heart. He also heard about the Ninja Alliance's plan to land on the moon. He was shocked before, but he didn't expect that the Alliance's power had already reached the moon. Even the Alliance that gathered the entire shinobi world was one step behind in landing on the moon, which shows how strong the Alliance is. And this time, Aizen's gathering made him have a hunch that the huge force hidden under the iceberg is finally coming to the surface. When he thought of this, he couldn't help but be excited. "It seems that I won't have to hide anymore." Just as he was excited, he suddenly caught a glimpse of 2 figures in front of him. "It's them." Raiga was overjoyed and hurriedly rushed forward. "Sasori Kisame, you are also here." Sasori turned around and saw Raiga with some doubts in his heart. With Aizen's power, why did he gather this guy? To make up the number of people, or to liven up the atmosphere? However, he didn't say it out loud, he just nodded calmly. "It's me." Seeing Sasori just nodding, Raiga wasn't annoyed. Besides him, there were few normal people in the Akatsuki, so this kind of reaction was normal. Kisame smiled and said, "Raiga-senpai, long time no see." Raiga nodded with emotion. "Yeah, I didn't expect that the remnants of the Akatsuki would meet again one day." "Akatsuki?" Kisame and Sasori's eyes suddenly became strange. Raiga was confused. "What's wrong? Did I say something wrong?" Sasori said indifferently, "It seems that you really don't know that this is a gathering of the Akatsuki." "Akatsuki?" Raiga's eyes were blank, he felt wronged. "Haha, Sasori-senpai, don't tease Raiga-senpai." Kisame laughed. "Since Raiga-senpai is here, it means that Aizen-sama has accepted him. Besides, this is actually the first gathering of the Akatsuki after so many years." Hearing Kisame's explanation, Raiga relaxed a lot. "So this is also your first time here?"
After that, he quickly asked, "Do you know why Aizen-sama called us this time? Is the organization going to make a big move?" "I don't know, but..." Sasori pondered for a moment. Lord Aizen might have just returned from a parallel world. It's not strange for him to make a big move. Parallel world. The two of them recalled the scene from 8 years ago. They were curious. What did Sir Aizen experience in that world? At this moment, a few puppets flew down from the sky. "Are you Sir Aizen's guests?" Scorpion nodded. "It's us," the leader said. "Welcome everyone. Please follow me to the castle." Leah approached Scorpion and whispered, "Why do they look so similar to the living puppets you created?" Scorpion looked at him calmly. "Because they are the original form of living puppets." After saying that, he ignored Leah and followed the puppet. This guy was introduced to the Akatsuki by Aizen-sama. Could it be that Hollow already existed at that time? Raiga didn't dare to think about it anymore and hurriedly followed. Before long, the three of them arrived in front of a castle. Sensing their presence, the owner of the castle came out to greet them. "Welcome everyone. I am Otsutsuki Kirito." Seeing this person, the three of them were shocked. "Byakugan, there is no caged bird seal on his forehead. And he looks familiar. Is he the one who stopped Shimizu Garashi during the 5 Kages tournament?" Kirito knew what they were thinking. He didn't explain and just smiled. "Please follow me." The three of them seemed to be stunned as they followed behind him without saying a word. When they reached the second floor and were about to enter the room that he led them to, Leah could not help but ask, "What's your ranking in the organization?" Kisame and Sasori gave him a thumbs up in their hearts and pricked up their ears. Kirito smiled. "3rd to 10th is possible. After all, I'm not good at fighting." "You're not good at fighting? How can you stop Shimizu Garashi?" "I don't believe you." The three of them who didn't know the truth complained in their hearts. Raiga smiled. "Then who is 1st and 2nd? The 1st is naturally Sir Aizen. As for the 2nd, it's me." A confident voice came from behind them. The three of them looked back and saw a 17 or 18-year-old boy standing behind them. His eyes were as bright as the sun. They were particularly eye-catching. "You are? Tonari Otsutsuki." After answering, Tonari looked expectantly to the side. "Father, has Sir Aizen arrived?" Kirito smiled kindly. "Not yet, but he should be here soon." Hearing their conversation, Raiga looked at them suspiciously. Their father and son. Was he just flattering him? Raiga thought subconsciously. Then he saw a young girl with flame-like red hair behind Tonari. He sighed. "Sigh, I really want to see Sir Aizen as soon as possible." Red hair. The three of them were moved. They instinctively thought of Nagato, who also had red hair. Kirito smiled. "Karen, Tonari, let's go in and wait." They opened the door and saw a long table in the middle of the room. The old man with the gas mask and the green-eyed man with the face mask were both sitting upright on the chairs in front of the long table. Raiga greeted them enthusiastically. "Kakuzu bro, you're early. Time is money," Kakuzu said coldly. "Haha, you're still the same." Raiga sat down beside him. But as soon as he sat down, he couldn't stand it anymore. He covered his nose and asked, "Bro, how many days have you not taken a bath?" Kakuzu said unhappily, "I took a bath before I came." Raiga froze. "Then your clothes," Kakuzu replied. "Oh, it's the same clothes from 8 years ago." Raiga's mouth twitched wildly. "You're too thrifty. You're obviously the richest among us." Kakuzu's face became gloomy when he mentioned money. Most of the ninja world is under the surveillance of the Skynet. The underground exchange has been closed for a long time. And now there's electronic trading. I'm an unregistered resident. There's no way I can collect money. Raiga opened his mouth. For someone like Kakuzu who valued money as much as his life, not being able to make money was worse than death. No wonder he couldn't increase his income and had to cut back. While everyone was mourning for Kakuzu, a tall figure suddenly appeared at the head of the table. "It seems that everyone is here. You're tuning in to the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories."